Hello, welcome to Homeopathic Services. My name is Pierre Fontaine. I've been a professional homeopath for nearly 30 years. I've written 3 books. The third book, The Language of Autism, which I myself refer to very often. I wrote the book and I read it constantly. I feel like during the writing process, something else happened, whereby a lot of it I may have typed, but I did not write. It's a strange feeling. The language of autism, I think it will tell you 95% of what autism actually is. It is not a brain inflammation. It is not a cognitive issue. It is not entity removal. It is not toxicity. It is not yeast. It is not fungal invasion. It is none of that. Okay, and this book will explain. I've said it many times on this in these video clips. Autism is conceptual inability of various degree. My second book, One Heart, One Mind, that is how to take a case on the spectrum, which is less interesting for parents than the third one. The language of autism definitely says what it is. And today, really a major update. A lot of something I've never spoken about, something I've been working with for about a year or so. More sort of integrating this following idea more and more into my practice. And if your child is not recovered, listen up, because it may very well tell you why. Okay, and I'm particularly talking about those who use homeopathy. By the way, regarding homeopathy and autism treatment, if you do cease, the more you do cease, the less likely your child is to be recovered. It is what it is. It's frank. It's direct. It may be complicated for you to assimilate, but the more cease you do, the worse your child will be. The more remedies you give, the worse your child will be. To the point where the vital force may be so disturbed that it will be impossible to recover your child. I believe all kids can be recovered, but with this, it's a long term with many remedies, such as the type of remedies given during cease. You will your child will there may be improvement here and there. Okay, but that's not what I'm looking for at Homeopathic Services. And by the way, their website is homeopathicservices.com. At Homeopathic Services, neurotypicality is the goal. That will not be possible if you do cease, because eventually the vital force is too disturbed, has been disturbed too many times to be for any remedy to be effective. Discontinue. You will do your child a great favor, probably the greatest favor. So that said, this new information I've been working on for the past year or so, I make a distinction between autism and what I call autism tendency. Autism is very precise. It is what is described in the language of autism. The language of autism at the end, chapter 13, lists what I call 9 precursors for autism. Autism doesn't happen out of the blue. They have to be precursors. All 9 or some of them. Some are more important than others out of those 9 precursors. If those 9 precursors are not there, or if there's 1 or 2 of the minor ones, then I look at what I call autism tendency. And the reason why it's important to understand the difference between the two, autism has all 9 precursors or 7 or so. Specifically, the more important ones. I've talked on other videos about that. Autism tendency requires, what is important here is that autism tendency requires entirely different set of remedies. I mean, within those sets of remedies, particularly three sets of remedies, and one or two remedies within those sets. Autism tendency is very different in terms of treatment. So one has to understand autism, which CEASE does not do. CEASE does not understand autism. It applies some flaky ideas taken from the biomed world in order to make, I don't know, some improvement here and there. It will never recover a child. That is for certain. But autism tendency requires entirely different set of remedies. And so if a child was treated as, quote, autism, then it is a big set of remedies, hundreds, okay, we're talking about. Here, with autism tendency, there are 3 sets of remedies with a few dozens of each. Their treatment is completely different. And so if your child has been treated with as autism, it may be autism tendency, and a whole new set of remedies should be taken into consideration. This is something I've been working with for about a year, but increasingly so. And it's powerful stuff. It does bring different. It seems to confirm itself. So I ask about precursors, not directly like that. I ask each case. I look for precursors during pregnancy and before and after birth. So before birth, during pregnancy, and after birth, I look for those precursors listed in chapter 13 in the language of autism. I look for the precursors, and now and most of the time, I have to say 95% of the time, that the precursors are there. If the precursors are not there, then it becomes autism tendency, and the remedies are completely different. These are remedies that are only being discovered now. So it's autism tendency is coming at the same time as these remedies are coming as well. So it's absolutely wonderful time to speak about this. Every child on the spectrum should be recovered. Make no mistake about this. I'm not talking about some improvement, maybe in behavior, maybe here, maybe there, the no more constipation or can finally use the bathroom. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being off the spectrum. Every child should be off the spectrum. Being off the spectrum is not registering on those tests that they have regarding spontaneous interaction, spontaneous speech, and eye contact. That is what I term the three-legged stool in the language in One Heart, One Mind. I call that the three-legged stool. Being off the spectrum is not necessarily neurotypical. Neurotypicality is very different. There are added qualities that come to the child with extended treatment. But off the spectrum, every child can be off the spectrum, that is for sure. Okay? It takes a while. It is not easy. Cease and people who sell you their courses for parents, please do not spend your money on this kind of thing. Give you easy answers. There's no easy answer when it comes to a treatment of autism. You should not take it lightly. It is very difficult. This is all I've done for 30 years. And it's still even difficult for me, very much. It is not easy to do. There are no easy answers. Those who tell you that you give the MMR vaccine remedy because of MMR vaccine damage and those type of black and white A to B solution, easy solution, simplistic solution, simple solution, fail. Your child may make a slight improvement, but will not be off the spectrum. Every child can be off the spectrum. And I think once off the spectrum, every child can be neurotypical. But at this moment, now what I say is there is a difference between there are two sets. One large set that is autism spectrum, and a smaller set, not a subset, a smaller set of children who have autism tendency. Very, very, very different sets of remedies, and maybe this is why some children were not recovered. Because I've just been working on this for a year at most. The idea came to me, but then I did not know what to do. Now I do know there are three sets of remedies that are useful for those cases. Yeah, not easy to speak about that. First time I speak about that, as you can see, I still look for language on how to explain this possibly clearly. I will come back to it. Other issues I've talked about many times, even repeatedly, but it needs to be repeated because there are always new people listening to these video clips, and it's important that everybody is always on board. So if I repeat myself, forgive me. Certainly today I presented a very different and new idea here that seems to be very useful. Thank you so very much for listening. The website is homeopathicservices.com. You may call me directly as well on the 212 number if you like. Again, all children should be recovered from autism. Thank you so very much. Be well, and see you next time.